Hey tubes, Scotty Duel here, and today I'm going to show you how to keep mice from getting into your blower system and also what happens when they do. Stay tuned. Hey guys, so today I am in a 2015 Hyundai Sonata. Although the year, make, and model do not matter, this is pretty much universal with any type of mouse damage where the mice get into the blower system. They like to crawl in and get up in where your windshield wipers are, and then they live up in there, and sometimes they fall into your blower motor, and that makes a real mess. So if you ever hear something like this, shut the blower motor off immediately, because as soon as those little guys get in there, the longer you run it or the faster you run it, the messier it gets, and it can be pretty gross. I found a whole family of them in there one time. It was pretty messy for me. So the first thing we got to do is take the wiper blades off so we can get the cowl cover off. So there's these little rubber caps on. This one happens to be like a real rubber. Then you have this one happens to be a 14mm nut to hold the wiper blade on. And then these, a lot of times, they're under quite a bit of spring tension. Sometimes they're kind of stuck. They're splined in there. So just got to wiggle them and maybe tap on them with the hammer to get them off. But this one seems pretty easy to get off. And there we go. So do that one more time. We're going to pop the little cap off. We're going to undo this guy here. Usually just break them free and then you're all set. Get that off. Give it a wiggle, pop that. Okay, wipers are out of the way. Set those aside. Next we're going to have to pop all these little fittings here off. I've already got this one started. They're the regular kind that are held all over the cars. So you take these, you unscrew the little Phillips part. You can just pop them off with a screwdriver too, but it's a little nicer to get them back in if you use the screwdriver. Very, very little tension, because if you put any tension on it, then they're going to not come up for you. So that's all it takes. Pop them right out. Keep those handy. You're going to need them. A couple more on the other side and we'll pop the cowl cover off. Kind of wiggle it, see what else is connecting it. Something else. This one's probably got some type of clips up inside. You got to be careful you don't break anything. Okay, this particular model of Hyundai, the cowl just pulls straight forward. This one I popped it straight forward this way, and it came right off of the bottom of the windshield. So we can get that whole thing right out of there. Set that aside, and if we look right there, we can see the culprit. See all that insulation? That's not from this car, that's from the house. So that is where they move in. I mean, look at this giant area where they can live. They move in anywhere in there. For some reason, they like to go up closer inside there. You might want to get some type of gloves or whatever on. Let me get my camera out of the light there. So if you want to get some gloves or something on, because those things can get pretty nasty. This one looks pretty good to me to take this part out. This part's not bad. There's actually still some in there. I can see them. Don't appear to be moving any. So this is going to get pretty gross. But that's that hole inside. You can see right there. You can see the hole. And that goes down inside to your air box, and that's where your air for inside your cabin is fed. And when you get a bunch of mice living on top of it, your air quality has diminished greatly. So it's really good to keep mice out of here. And if we look right here, this is one of the water holes. So the water comes in here, it pools up below your windshield, flows out that way. So that's the hole we're going to close up. And just a little bit, I'll show you what we're going to use. So they have a hole just like that on either end. So zoom in on that side. And under there, you can just barely see it, but underneath that little motor there, there's the other water exit over there. And you cover those two areas up, and you pretty much got it all set for the mice not coming into your car. There may be areas like up underneath there. You're gonna like feel around and make sure you find all the areas where mice could come in. But just in case, we're going to take this area here and we're going to cover that up so they don't come in there either. And that'll take care of it. So I'm going to put some gloves on so I can reach in and get all this stuff without getting all nasty. Some people do this barehanded, not me. Sorry, think about me what you want. So I gotta reach through here into the air box and dig all this stuff out. Okay, the camera's not cooperating with this part, but inside there is the hole, and up in there is your cabin air filter. So what they do is they move in on top of your cabin air filter, they dig a hole through the filter, and then they drop down into your blower motor. That's when things get messy. Okay, so I think that pretty much takes care of what's going on the outside of the car as far as cleanup goes. Then we're going to have to move to the inside. And under here, underneath the glove box here, is where we've got our blower motor, because this one in particular we did have a thumping noise, so I know that the mice are in there. So I'm going to have to take the blower motor out the bottom of this, take it out, and start cleaning out the air box with all the mess that probably happened in there. As far as how to get in there, most likely we're going to go in behind the glove box and pull out the cabin air filter. Now you're just going to be able to have to look at your own car's instructions on how to get the cabin air filter out of your car, but you're going to definitely want to replace that because the mice have moved in on top of it and made it basically into like a diaper pad. So they're disgusting creatures, so they're cute, but that's it. So we're going to get into there, we're going to pull out the cabin air filter, we're going to get underneath, we're going to pull out the blower motor, clean out all that. I'll spare you the gory details of what's in there, and then I'll show you how to stop them from getting in. So on this particular Hyundai, they did a nice job. This just has a couple of these pins that pop in the bottom here that hold the bottom part of the glove box in place. There's a couple little screw things on the side inside the box. You pop a little tab on the side of your glove box, and everything comes apart. So this one's pretty good. This is where your cabin air filter is. It tells you up right there. This is probably the filter. I gotta get a new one of these. So I push a little button in the side. Here we have our cabin air filter. And you can see, this is where it was on the outside where I pulled all the insulation from. This is where they chewed a hole through to get down inside. And this, underneath here, underneath all this, underneath that's your blower motor. And that is where the messy stuff happens. So that's why we want to keep them out of there. They seem to like to move into there. Nice warm spot, nice cushy bed, all that stuff. This part can be gross. I think this one's not too bad, although the smell is wonderful. We had smell-o-vision. Oh yeah, this stinks. And you can see this is what your cabin air filter is. Nice fresh air. Okay, it's about as much light as I can get up under there. I don't really have much for lights. But as typical, here is your blower motor. There's usually 3 screws. It looks like one there, one in the back there, and one up here. I'm going to take those out, drop the blower motor out. There's a electrical connection that'll be, this one happened to be like right here, just a little pinch clip. A little pinch on that little guy and it pops out. They can all be different. They seem to have like a whole crew of electrical engineers that design special clips for automobiles to make them really difficult for us. So we're going to take this, we're going to pop it out. I think I may get blessed with this one. I'm going to look and see if the bottom part of this air plenum comes apart. Because up in the top here, right here, there appears to be a clip. And it looks like this thing separates in half. It'd be really good for cleaning purposes to be able to take the whole bottom of this and drop it right out and clean the whole inside of that. Really good to get all the smell and all the parts out of there, because this one's been spinning for a while. Okay, so now because I'm kind of running out of light and I don't have a lot of lights to put up to do this in the dark and I want to get bit up by mosquitoes anyways, I'm going to jump to the part where we're actually stopping these little guys from getting in. The cleanup part's going to be about all the parts that I showed you, where you're just going to have to take out that blower motor, clean out the blower motor fan, they call it squirrel cage I think, and clean that all out. You're going to have to get a mirror or something and look up inside that your heater plenum and clean all the stuff out of there. Sometimes these guys stay whole, sometimes they get pretty messy. So what we're going to do now is, so now it looks like on this one it's pretty easy to cover this. This part out here doesn't cover it. If you put a cover over this, it'd still go around the back of it. But this back here, well, it's a little bit hard to reach from this side. I think over there I can get in pretty good. It just looks like all I have to do is put in a flat piece of the mesh material. Put a flat piece there, cover this hole here, cover that hole on that side, though that one's really hard to reach. And then you're gonna have to make decisions on your own cars, because this one over here, there's a little gap, but I mean, I can't really put my finger through it, so that's probably small enough where the mice won't get through. But if you can put your finger through it, the mouse will get through it. So you want to cover it with this stuff called hardware cloth. So what we're going to be using to cover the areas where the mice can get in is this stuff here. And this is called hardware cloth. This is 1/2 inch hardware cloth because it measures a 1/2 inch by a 1/2 inch on the little squares. You can get it in 1/4 inch and stuff, but I think the 1/2 inch is good enough. I've never had where a mouse goes through the 1/2 inch. And so the reason why they call it hardware cloth is, I have no idea where it came up with the name of hardware cloth. It's green. So this is it, 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. You cut a strip of it. You can stick it in place. You know, you can take some silicone and you can stick it in place, or you can use like Tech screws and stuff if you don't mind poking holes where they are. Just make sure that when you poke a hole through your firewall or anywhere like that, wherever you're going, make sure you know what's on the other side of it, because you don't want to be poking any like AC lines or anything like that. So you want to make sure that everything's covered. No danger into poking into something else on the other side. So be sure you know what you're doing. The safest way is to just cut a big chunk of this stuff, cut it to size, stick it in place with silicone, some type of caulking. You're just kind of gluing it right in place. There's no real stress on it falling out. It's just basically holding the cloth up. So that should take care of it. 12 inches. Oh, the smell is just wonderful, guys. Wish you had smell-o-vision. Looks like it's about 12 by 3, and it tapers some. So I'm gonna make it, I can make it pretty big. There's nothing in the way. So I'm gonna make it probably 14 by 5, so I've got 1 inch all the way around the edges. That way we've got plenty to stick it down to. Over here, this one's 4. I don't know where to cover it to. Make that like 4 by 6 or something. Probably the same on the other side. Okay, so here's how this one fits here. We've got, so this is that little hole there where the water goes through. So now I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in place. I'm going to do a little bit of cutting on it so you get it to fit correctly. Put a bunch of caulking around the edge. I'm not going to put any caulking right here because that's where the water wants to flow, so I don't want to do anything to stop the flow of water. But I do want to make the fit up good, so this part here is sitting flat on the bottom, so we know that nothing's going to get through there. So a couple little extra cuts here. Figure out how to get my one behind here. It is a little bit tough to get the hardware cloth behind there, but get that back there. A little bit of silicone or some screws, and we're mouse free. Okay, I did a little looking at this side, and that wiper motor assembly is in my way. Seems simple enough. one screw, one bolt there, one bolt there, takes the whole system out. So I'm going to do that and make life easy on myself. Put the other cover down there and be all set. And on this one, I ended up putting the 2 tech screws in because it was just easier with this one. Screw on each side, big old washer, make sure it doesn't go through the 1/2" hardware cloth, and you're all set. Alright, that's just about gonna wrap it up for this project. So I've got the blower motor out. There was definitely a mouse in there, or what was left of them. Got that all cleaned out, just gotta pop that back up into place, and we are mouse free. And that should take care of all the mice forever, unless we get some that have bolt cutters or something like that and they start cutting through, but that probably won't happen. So if this video is good to you, then do me a favor, give me a thumbs up and smash, there's far too much violence in this world right now, ever so gently press that like button, subscribe, that'd be great for me, and hopefully this is a good video for you. And this is Scotty Do All signing out. Have a good day. Bye bye.